evening, everybody. It is the first Sunday evening show of 2023. Lee back, and hopefully without the lag issues that we had a minute or so ago. So, Lee, listen, first show back in 2023. What's the plan for tonight? We're not necessarily going to be following the poker. I think we're just going to ease our way back into it. We want to say hello to the guys, right?
Yeah, pretty much that's it. I mean, obviously we had a break. Everybody had a break over the festive period. Well, there were plenty of people playing poker, to be honest. That's for sure. That doesn't ever stop. But the APAT games, leaderboards and everything did stop. And we're just putting together what we're going to do online for 2023. But we just wanted to come really on the show tonight and have a catch up, say hello, have a bit of chat about what's been going on. Somebody wanted to talk about some football. I don't know whether anyone's up for that, but we can talk about football if anybody wants to. But yeah, just a back and get go. Obviously, we're already focusing in on first event of the season live, which is now what about 5-6 weeks away, and we'll be up in Nottingham for the team event. I think the sort of initial deadline for captains to get their entries in was around this weekend. I know we'll have a few that will be getting it sorted this week. Everyone's paying in via Lux and Pay via the captains this year, that hopefully should be fairly straightforward. I know a few people have had a few grumblings and a few issues in getting their accounts set up, but all we can assure you is the Luxon team are pretty good at getting any issues resolved, and once it's set up, it is an absolute breeze to use moving forward, and you'll be able to use it for all of the events at Dusk Till Dawn this year that APAT are at, plus hopefully a chunk of other events that we're running in the year when the kind of the venues partner up with Luxon and look to use them as a payment provider. So hopefully it will become a little bit of pain now, but hopefully it will become your one-stop shop for buying into APAT events, majority of APAT events. And of course you can do the transfer to transfer players as well. So it's great if you're staking a player and you want to get them their funds to for if you bought 10% of somebody or whatever or something like that, it's it'll be a great way of using that as well. So, and
just for anybody who isn't aware, Luxon is owned and effectively ran by Rob and the DTD team, so it's like a DTD product. So it's from a trusted team. We trust them. We know they're doing their best for UK poker and recreational players and stuff like that. So it absolutely all adds up to something that we'd want to support and see grow. For the reasons that Lee said, and just generally the support shown to recreational level poker players across the UK. That is all good. So Lee, we're beginning to see a couple of people drift in now. So Simon, of course, is there. Simon goes on to ask, did anybody win? Is he referring back to that very short mention of football? Because Forest, I had a pretty decent spell over the last week or two. Pete Wigglesworth is out there, says, good evening, guys. Evening to you, Mr. Wigglesworth, sir. And Simon said, on Luxon, useful for moving money from online sites to site to site very quickly. Adam is out there. Adam Sharples. Whatever happened to just paying cash on the day? I miss those days. Well, it's true, but there's the point, right? Time moves on. Stuff changes.
But what I would say is that that has paying cash on the day hasn't gone away. That's still a thing. I know he gives a little laugh afterwards. That hasn't gone away. But even back in the day when APAT first started, everyone will remember the ClickFest from back then.
Legendary league.
And you needed to pay in advance, if you wanted to get to APAT events, because obviously that's I suppose there's not many tours on the planet, Des, whereby events are sold out before they even get to the venue. I cannot think of many where you can't just rock up on the day and buy into a tournament. Obviously, you could do that with APAT events, but we do have caps on our events because of the venues that we go to, and we're limited on what we can do with resources and dealers. We max it out as much as we can and always do, but things will sell out. And so if you want to guarantee so you don't miss out, you've got to find a way of paying in advance. There's no other way to do it.
It's like everything else, Lee. Change isn't easy for everybody, right? And poker players are notorious for being, I don't want to change. I'm not going to another site. I'm not going to another this, that, and the other. But hey, do you know what? Once you do it, it's done, right? It's done, and you can't stop progress.
There's a pub chain in Dorset down with us, Dorset and Somerset. They cover called Hall and Woodhouse. They've got a large chain of pubs, very very nice, and very nice venues around near us. But they don't take cash anymore.
Hey, the pub doesn't take cash.
They came back from lockdown, and yeah, their venues do not take cash anymore. Wow. So basically, it's all cards or contactless.
Just as one Mr. Nosy P, Wayne Parker says, cash is always king. It's not always king, Wayne. And you know what? Going forward, it's going to be less and less king. I mean, I don't handle a lot of cash these days. I'm throwing a bit of plastic at everything, really. Peter asks, he tells us that he owes Stefan Fisher some money. Can I send euros via Luxon or put money as an account?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. You can send just about anything via Luxon. I think pretty much it's a multi-currency wallet, so it's perfect for that. As with anything, I would say when you're talking about switching between currencies, check the exchange rates, make sure you're happy with that before you do it, and you know what you're committing to, because like any of these things, I think what you've got to realize with them that none of this stuff is for free. They're all making, finding a way of making a little bit of something out of it, or some margin to cover their costs for whatever it is they're going to do. So you've always just got to be aware of that. But certainly from transfer to transfer of currencies, not a problem whatsoever. I think we had Paul Haycock on the show last year, who'd opened a Luxon account when he was over in Ireland playing some cash, and cashed his euros in there back into his Luxon account, and had them for them buying into something in pounds a couple of months later. So yeah, lots of options for you. And of course, Mr. Wigglesworth had a good start to the year. Had a couple of nice cashes in some events he's already been playing. So he's planning a big 2023, I think, is Pete. So looking forward to seeing how he runs. Yeah,
I tell you, Pete's been off to a flyer. I tell you who else is off to a flyer. Adam Neal. Did you see that? The day before yesterday? He won the 1K high roller at the UK Poker Championship, right up at Düsseldorf. It was good, which was a
stellar field. I mean, really good.
£25,000.
Yeah, 25K. Yeah.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And it was live streamed, so you were able to watch it. The guy's just breaking in the new live stream kit up there.
Yeah,
had a bit of fun with that. And they're going to do it again tomorrow. So, yeah. It is tomorrow, right, for the final table of the
day
event?
2 tomorrow. Yeah, the day.
Do you have any idea where they're up to there, Lee? Are they down to a final table yet?
No, they're not down to a final table yet. They had over 1,000 runners in total. I think I just saw Rob recently tweet, I think GG qualified over 200 players online for that event. Dusk Till Dawn qualified about 120 through live satellites into that event, but they ended up with well over 1,000 runners for the UKPC. So a superb start to the year, which will have put the prize pool comfortably over, I think it was a 500 plus 60 buy-in, so comfortably over 500,000 for the first one of the year. And we know Rob and the team are just getting started with their plans for 2023. So lots going on.
Rolling up their sleeves, Lee, is what they're doing. Right, so lovely to see Adam Neal doing well. That was absolutely fantastic. It'll be interesting to see how this final table goes tomorrow. And of course, a good thing, I think, for all of us, if DTD is getting its stuff together on the live streaming front, because with such a big schedule planned across 2023, it's just going to be great to see some UK level streaming.
It's taken them just a little bit longer because they want to get the kind of the final table, the studio area, really exactly as they want it to be, and they've got some big plans for it. And so they've got the kind of the video screen in there now, and they're working. But obviously, Rob was very quick to make it on Twitter the other night, say that they're not the final chairs; they're just temporary chairs. We've got, so they're obviously, the chairs are going to be pretty impressive when they arrive for the players as well. But that whole area is going to be phenomenal, and then they'll have a whole commentary area as well, which I can't wait. I mean, I was hopefully going to be up there myself this weekend to do a bit with them, but they're just not quite there ready yet. So I think they've just gone with Simon Trump for the weekend to get that done.
Did you get in our request for an area to leave out a fruit buffet, Lee, for the guests?
yeah.
Right. If only, a bit of grapes at midnight.
I don't know whether you saw any of Rob's videos through the weekend, but the place looked jammed.
Yeah,
absolutely jammed. And as I say, we know that in February with the team event. We're sold out with with teams for that. 45 teams with 360 players. We've got all sitting down for 2 days of poker there. Plus, we know very well that Friday night bounty comp, Des, they will be queuing out the door. We'll properly annoy the regular players at dusk till dawn that Friday night, where they can't get into their club to play their comp.
I'll tell you what, if you're not already queuing at dusk till dawn for that one, forget about it. It's too late. It's done.
So the Oracle says in the chat, 1148 was the final runners on the on the UK PC, and it's lovely to see that comp back. I mean, I don't know whether you are aware, Des, but it's a competition that's quite close to my heart. I had a reasonable amount of success in it once. I don't like to talk about it though, so we won't bore anyone with it now. But
it's fantastic, fantastic. Yes, it is really nice to see it back, and of course, Sky Poker, who ran that event in your daily when you did have a hell of a lot of success, is near dear in my heart as well. So it's a small industry. It's lovely to see stuff coming back.
But it's great that we're seeing we're back. We're on the second weekend of 2023, and there's already 500,000, plus, it's close to 600,000 guaranteed, comp there. Things have kicked off at the Vic in London for the first GUKPT of the year. I was watching a little bit of the stream earlier on from there. They've got a big bounty hunter final table that's going on there tonight, and then they're running all throughout. There's another big Grosvenor comp that's happening at Coventry in February, just before we've got our team event. There's the festival at dusk till dawn in February already, which looks a great comp the week before we're there. So there is so much going on already, and we're only just getting started for what. And I did call this before we broke up for the Christmas break. I think 2023 is going to be huge. Now the Bromleys,
Snowmania.
They're at Snowmania. Who even knew that existed? Which is a bit of skiing and a bit of poker, and they've had a little bit of cash success over there. Natalie just finished on a final table today for I think her second or third cash of the week over there. They've had an absolute right cracking week of skiing during the day and then a bit of poker in the evening. I mean,
sounds fantastic.
What's not to love about that?
Well, I've been doing it for many years, Lee. Many years I've done the old Snowmania, because whenever I sat down to play poker, I was immediately on a slippery slope. So yeah, I'm quite familiar with that. But listen, you're looking forward to 2023. It's not all about looking forward, Lee, because Nosy P, right, Wayne, we mentioned him. He's in the chat, and he put a lovely, I don't know if you saw this, but he put a lovely little video memory up on within the group a little earlier today, which remembered back to the first two online events with PokerStars back in 2006, of which Wayne, I think at the end of the two events, he was like top of the rankings. He made two final tables or whatever. It was absolutely got a silver medal. And I remember that so well. But it's just lovely to remember back to when it was all starting out. And while it doesn't seem too long ago, in reality, it's just 16 years. It's just insane.
It's funny. I'm doing a bit of work in the background, which you know about, Des, at the moment, just getting some of our rankings and data up together. And yes, when you start scrolling back through all the information and the names and the tournaments that we played and everything else, I'll tell you, I had one this week. One of the guys from the festival that I mentioned at Dusk Till Dawn contacted me about, could we maybe do a bit to help promote their event, because they're going to be at Dusk Till Dawn the week before we are, and he's based in Tallinn. And I said, we did a tournament in Tallinn, and I had to go back and look and see exactly when it was, because I think it was season 4 or something like that.
2010, a rich vintage.
Yeah. And I said, it was like, we were at this casino, and this. He said, that doesn't even exist anymore. I was like, wow, how times have changed. But again, I said, we'd love to go back there, because I know that the guys thoroughly enjoyed. Tallinn's a great place to play poker and a great place to visit. So we were well looked after when the guys went over there. I missed out on that trip, but I heard a lot of stories about, mostly from Jer Senior. Bless him, who told me some very interesting stories about that trip. Yes.
Yeah, it's a pretty legendary trip. I didn't make that one either. Ticey must have got the short straw for that one, because lots of stories came out of Tallinn. I have to say, going back to what you was probably rightly 2010, which was the Betfair season. They put a lot of money in, and we just went everywhere. Right, we went everywhere. It's fantastic. So Simon has said he saw your name on the trophy. So that's cool. So is it the same? Is there a?
Is it?
I don't know. Interesting. Saw your name on the.
Oh right,
trophy.
no, yes, okay, right. So yeah, so they've got a big. They have a big trophy now. Because and I know this because I did some video bits and pieces for them for their promo stuff, and so they were taking pictures of the trophy. So there is a big replica trophy, but they only brought that in, I think, so many years in, or so many events in. So I think they've gone back and put everybody's name on it now on the big trophy. But obviously those now get a replica. I think back the first maybe 3 or 4 were a slightly different trophy that you got to keep and everything else. I mean, I got a bracelet as well. A bracelet.
Yeah, I remember
back
that
in the day. Yeah, but now it's the trophy's stunning. It's like a red, white, and blue kind of thing going on. It's very nice indeed. So so I think so that would make sense that they've gone back and done that.
Like it.
Cool. I've never seen it though. I must actually try and check it out. I think it sits in reception normally. I think they've got it behind reception.
Got to see it. Well, we're going to be up there soon. Maybe the trophy's going to be at the back somewhere. One Frank Bailey is out there as well. Evening, Lee and Des. Well done, Wayne. Enjoyed the video. It was a great little video, I have to say. I can't ignore it, Lee. I don't even want to ignore it. But our good friend, Mr. 40, Steve. Hello, Des. Is Klopp a ready meal ready to go? And then he immediately follows that up with Rashford never offside. Okay, so I mean, do we want to do we want to go there, Lee? Do we want to go there?
I mean, we could talk football. I mean, I'm in a very good place to be talking football these days. It's nice. I'm sure Mr. Lawler was quite happy talking football at the moment as well. Forest having a great time of it at the moment and we've got them in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup as well, which would be great. A great two-legged but it has been a weird weekend for football. I mean we'll talk the offside goal, that is how that doesn't get given as offside. I'm really not quite sure. I think if it was against your own team, you'd be pretty hacked off about it. I understand the rules and the law, but the law's a bit of an arse, and it probably needs changing, I guess. But I believe there was a Salah similar one.
I mean, the reality is
I didn't see.
Yeah, the reality is these things happen. It's hard to look at it and not think that Rashford in some way interfered with play, right? The goalie, in a lot of pictures, the goalie's looking at the two of them going, what do I do? So it's got to have interfered, but he didn't touch it. And Fernandes wasn't offside. So I guess by the letter
by the letter of the law, it stands, and that's what it's there for. And if it was a mistake, VAR would have come back in and gone, actually, you need to look at this because that's not right. But they felt not to. Yes, very strange.
But what an amazing turnaround in Man United season. I mean, you go back, crikey. Yeah, go back 12 weeks and for any length of years before that, and they seemed in a huge amount of disarray. But, your manager's come in, he's been authoritative, he's, taken Ronaldo out effectively. He's gone for periods putting Luke Shaw at centre-back. He's not afraid of making some big decisions, I would say. He's made some good buys. And suddenly United are on a roll, 10 winning games at Old Trafford. Is that right?
I saw a story. Yeah, I saw a story last week. I don't know how true these things are. It's hard to say, but it was after the Brentford games. Obviously, we lost at Brighton and then lost at Brentford, and we were still sorting out. That was the summer transfer window, and we were still sorting out, who we were getting in, and I'd been chasing Casemiro for a little while by the sounds of it. Once we'd got the sniff that he, potentially could go if the money was right or whatever, and apparently after the Brentford game, I think it was, Casemiro asked his agent to send a message to United because they still hadn't been done, and they were starting to get a bit worried. Well, is he going to want to sign now? This is looking great for the start of the season. Apparently, the message he asked to send was, tell them I'll fix this. That's what what he said. He said, tell them, I've got this. And and yeah, just they look a different. They look a team full of confidence. I guess from the City game, we arguably City had one shot on target. They scored from it, but that was the only shot they had on target the whole game. I thought the game plan was pretty good. When City really started applying the pressure, yeah, we buckled a bit, and they deserved the goal when they scored it because you could see it was coming, definitely. But the players didn't certainly didn't give up from that point of view. And the interesting thing for me is, imagine if we'd swapped Haaland for Martial in that game, and we had Haaland up front, being a threat, and that players are worried and defense, and that frees up other players. That's all the problem. I feel our weak link at the moment is Martial up front. He's just not it. He's not what we need. And,
well, you'll fix that.
Yeah, and I do think that potentially this, as crazy as this loan deal that we've now done, as crazy as it sounds, you got to trust Ten Hag. He knows the player, and he knows what he wants and what he needs in that team. And you might find that he plays a lot more than people are thinking he's going to. That he's going to be an option off the bench if we need a plan B. He could become plan A very, very, very quickly for the rest of the season. He really, really could, because if he hits the ground running and he puts the work, he's got the work ethic to do the press that Ten Hag wants. Don't be surprised if he starting games for United ahead of Martial.
There you go, folks. That's how intoxicated Man United fans are after a couple of semi-decent results. Good on you. And you know what? You might just win the Carabao Cup. I mean, you might win a bloody cup.
I'd be disappointed. Genuinely would be gutted now if we don't win that, because I think we've got a really good chance of winning that. I think we got a 2-leg playoff against Barcelona for the Europa League. To be honest, I'd sack that off now if I knew we were guaranteed a top 4 finish in the Premier League. I mean, I'd quite happily focus on that and to do that. So, but Barcelona will be tough over 2 legs because they're looking quite good in La Liga at the moment. They're looking a handy enough outfit. Obviously, we an okay draw in the next round of the FA Cup as well. So we're certainly going to go. We're going to go deep into this season. Whereas normally for United fans in the last few years, the season's been pretty much over by sort of February time.
Absolutely.
Whereas I think this year we're going to have a little bit more bang for our buck out of it. We're not going to spend any more money. That's clearly obvious. Whereas Chelsea, I see again today, are just going. I mean, have you signed for Chelsea yet, Des? I mean, I presume the deal's
there's an offer. There's an offer on the table. I have another question on United, Lee. Martinez, what's the story there? He doesn't seem to be able to get into the team at the moment. I thought he was one of the contributing factors.
I think it's just a case that they all went back to Argentina to celebrate after the World Cup. They've come back. I think although we're short of centre backs, Shaw really hasn't put a foot wrong since he was forced to play there. So we had the one game where there was no other option, so he had to play there. I was very surprised that he started him against City, but he clearly felt he could do the job. And to be honest, he had Haaland in his pocket for most of it. He outmuscled him for a lot of it. Didn't really see much of Haaland for a vast majority of the game. So I don't see it being a long-term thing. I would very much seeing Shaw will move back to left back and Martinez will drop back into centre back. But even when Maguire started,
do you think
I think eventually they will.
But you don't think he'll go this winter?
I'd be very surprised. I mean, crikey, we still haven't sold Phil Jones. So, to be perfectly honest, I mean, and I would suggest Lindelof probably goes out the door before Maguire does. But I would argue that all three of them probably move on, because I think in reality, they're not what Ten Hag wants. Moving forward. So from that point of view, and he started to blood some of the youngsters as well. I mean, a couple of them have played in some of the cup games. Garnacho looks a real prospect. Need to get him signed up on a longer term contract, so that's looking quite positive. So it's all steady. Steady. That's all you can expect. I mean, the way it's going at the moment, Arsenal are looking phenomenal at the top of the table. Didn't put a foot wrong again today against Tottenham, although they got battered in places, and the keeper had to do a bit, but So
God, they got it done, right? They got it done. That's a great result.
They couldn't. Well, they couldn't have. I mean, after United winning yesterday, Arsenal just had to look and go. Really, if we win this game, and it puts us in a super strong position. But what about Liverpool? Where does their season go?
We're not there yet. Just before we get to Liverpool, two other outstanding bits of management before we get to the negative side of management. Eddie Howe, Newcastle,
incredible.
Just keep getting it done. Like, it's a great sign to be seeing 88th, 89th minute winners as they.
Well, when you can bring on, we can bring on what's your biggest signing, I think.
Yeah, but he's been out for a while, hasn't he?
But he's been out. But I mean, the first couple of games he played before he got injured,
he scored a storm.
I have got him ready. He is going back into my fantasy football team, I think probably from next week. Because I put him in straight away when they signed him because he's a quality player and he looked amazing the first couple of games. Then the unfortunate injury, but he came in and just, I mean, it was a kind of end of day, a simple sort of tap in really to finish, but he looks quality. And they're a bit thin on numbers, but they've already got knocked out the FA Cup. They're in obviously the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, playing Southampton in the other semi-final, so their focus could be on. I mean, at the moment, you'd say, well, yeah, if they keep the squad fairly much injury free, with the players that are now back for the second half of the season, top four is very much in their grasp. I would suggest. I don't see Chelsea closing the gap between now and the end of the season. Although they've signed a lot of players, they would have to go on some ridiculous run now. Chelsea would. Tottenham look fairly weak. You guys could get a comeback. I mean, the injury to Van Dijk was a bit of a blow. How long is he going to be out for?
It was about a month, so we're a week into that. But Van Dijk is only partially the problem at Liverpool. I think you've just got a ton of players that
is it the number of injuries, or is it the aging midfield that's the problem?
Well, it's not the aging midfield, because if you look at Real Madrid's midfield, for example, the average age there is about like 42. You know, that won the Champions League.
But you play a different style of game to Real Madrid.
Yeah, but we haven't really played that style of game. Certainly, we haven't played it this season. So I think Klopp has changed stuff around. I'd be less worried about the age of the players, much more worried about the fact that they probably went deep into the tank last year, and just from a pure motivational point of view, it seems like they're off the pace of it. And if you look at this Liverpool team over the last 5-6 years, they've been on a season, off a season, on a season, off a season. It's been a bit like that, and they're clearly in a down season. I suppose the way the Liverpool fans are talking about it at the moment is that the time is right for change, and that's okay. Not a problem having a bad season if it's a season of transition, but let's start to see the transition occur so that when we get into next season, maybe another signing in winter, and maybe bringing some of those younger players through in second half. So I don't think we'd complain too much if we didn't make top four, if we thought actually we were developing for next season. It's just unfortunate for Liverpool.
Your acquisition already from January is great. It's a good one for you. I know the press pushed it all over. He's chosen Liverpool over United. Well, I'm not sure really we actually needed him. We've got so many players of that style anyway already in our squad. Whereas he could easily be another Diaz for you, January signing.
Yeah, I'm not massively sure. Yeah. I'm not massively sure we needed him either, to be perfectly honest. I mean, we have perfectly good players to come back in that position. What we desperately need was some fresh blood in midfield. So we haven't quite got that yet. And obviously, Saturday was horrendous. I mean, I haven't seen it. I was listening to it on the radio, but I haven't seen it yet. But it just sounded pretty horrendous. So
it wasn't. We'll, I mean, what I would say, Brighton was superb.
Yeah.
They absolutely battered you. They were really, really good, and they have been most of the season. They had a bit of a blip, and obviously Potter's moved on, and probably looking back now and thinking, okay, I had to take the Chelsea job because how often do those come around? But he's probably thinking, actually, that wasn't the right move for him. But
and look at Fulham up in 6th place, 6th or 7th.
Yeah, again,
incredible,
playing really, really well. And
look at
and nearly got a point today and wouldn't have lost out, and they missed a penalty as well. So
yeah. And look at
which is the most bizarre thing of kicking it onto his other foot. I mean, strangest.
I didn't see it, but I heard about it. And of course, the other one is Forest. We mentioned them earlier on, but hasn't.
What I'm really glad with Forest is they've signed a player in the January transfer, because I was really worried that they didn't have they hadn't made enough signings.
They haven't got enough players
in their squad. So I'm really glad that they've bolstered the squad with.
Do they have space in the car park?
I was going to say.
Is that like something you'd want to get signed into your contract? I need a space in the car park. I don't want to be taking the local bus in.
I was curious to know, is there some ruling in the Premier League? Can you only have up to 2-digit numbers, or could somebody play with a number 100 on the back? Yeah, is that 107? Can that be allowed? I don't know what the rules are as to what number you can play with. But again, I'm really, and isn't it great to see Forest back in League Cup semi-finals, playing the 2 legs. I mean, Forest had plenty of good success in the 80s and the early 90s in the cup competitions, and it's great to see them back in the Premier League. And the reality of it is they're finding their feet with a huge, squad turnaround, which was needed. It wasn't just a case of going and spending a load of money. They had so many players that left the club. They had no option but to do that. And I do think they play. They're playing quite good football, and they're looking like if they can get a bit of a run together, they might well stay up this season.
I think it's likely that they will. No nonsense club at the moment. That's good.
What's interesting at the bottom of that league at the moment, Des, I don't know whether you've seen the bottom of the Premier League table, but there is something like 2 points covering 7 clubs or something like that. Is between 15 points and 17 points.
You're going to look at the trends, right? So one would suggest that Forest are trending up at the moment. They're getting some good results that will increase confidence. They'll add another 7 or 8 players, I'm sure, during this window. Southampton have had a great week, 3 wins in the week. Semi-final of the Carabao Cup, magnificent. From a downside point of view, have you ever seen anything like what we're seeing at Everton at the moment?
Frank Lampard's Everton, eh?
Super Frankie Lampard.
Lampard's Everton, yeah. What the hell is going on there? I mean, they could have a brand new super stadium and be playing in the Championship quite easily at this rate. I'm not sure. I mean, he's been unfortunate with injuries to some key players, so he's not really got any momentum. But they just seem to just have no passion or interest in playing. I don't know whether it's the manager or the supporters are shouting for the board. The board need to go.
It's worse than that. The police told the board not to turn up on Saturday. They couldn't turn up, right?
But the board have supported managers with so much money at that club. They have spent an absolute fortune.
Apparently, the CEO, Denise Baxter, whatever, a fan had her in a headlock in the last week.
Oh, wow.
A fan had her in a headlock. The CEO.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know who or what they're blaming it on. Really, the players need to start performing on the pitch, and if that's not happening, then the way they're going, it's looking like it's going to be a real struggle for them. Because I don't think they've got the players down there to battle it out. I don't think they have.
I wouldn't be sorry to see them go down, Lee. Small club.
Well, they saved themselves last season by what was it? The penultimate game or something like that. It was only a couple of games in it, and they were right, until then, and it was only they just fluked a couple of games and got themselves out of it. Otherwise, they could have easily gone last year. So that shouldn't come as any surprise to anybody, really. Although they made some good signings.
Can you imagine if they go down with this new stadium coming? It's like it's a proper, decent looking stadium.
And I guess at some point he's bankrolled it, isn't he? Which is the guy that used to be at Arsenal, isn't it? And for however much money, surely at some point financial fair play's got to come into this to go, well, they must be making losses left, right, and centre. Just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not good.
It really, really is. Simon Lawler's in the chat saying, yeah, nosebleeds at Nottingham Forest, and World Cup break was best thing for us. Tough group of matches after Bournemouth and Leeds matches. But yeah, I think the World Cup break has benefited a number of teams. I was really worried for United, thinking, are our players going to come back and not really be up for it? But we had a half decent run of games, and everyone said, oh, well, you now got City. We've got Arsenal in. So it's Crystal Palace midweek, and then we've got Arsenal after that in the league. So yeah, it's another tester as to where we stand.
If United beat Arsenal, surely you must stand back and think we could do this, because it could absolutely shake their resolve. You could almost it's worth a hell of a lot more than 3 points if you win that game. Yeah,
I would say, and it feels like a bit of a free shot for us. We've already beat them at Old Trafford this season, so it feels like we've got nothing to lose there. Arguably, I don't know who is even the favourite to win that game. Maybe us on our run. But then again,
I think Arsenal would justifiably go in as the favourite. We could
just as easily go to Crystal Palace on Wednesday night and them do us over. We've still got that in us at the moment, and that's the thing. We have kind of ducked and weaved a little bit in places this season, and had a few things have gone our way at the right time for us. So we're not, I don't think we're the finished article there to be challenging for the title yet. But sometimes that can just happen, that a title opportunity comes for you without you even realizing it. I say nobody would have had that expectation. We were talking about if we could be battling for top 4 this season, that was a good season with everything that's gone on in the last few years. I think where we're at now, I'm at a point now where I'd be gutted if we didn't finish top 4 now, because I think we're looking good. We'd have to really implode to not keep this pressure and this momentum going with where we're at.
You've got Arsenal, City, Newcastle, 3. Let's say those 3 are locked, right? And United could easily run well past Newcastle. You could even potentially get towards City and Arsenal, depending on, I think, the next couple of weeks.
Arsenal have got to play City twice. They've got to play each other twice yet.
Have they really?
Yeah, okay. They haven't played, and they're fairly close. I think it might be next midweek and maybe a couple of weeks after. They're pretty close games, I think, if I remember rightly.
That's something to look forward to. But who else? So Liverpool, it feels like a long shot to me. Chelsea possibly could make a run.
Well, they could make a run. Spurs could. Yeah, but again, Spurs, if you can get them back playing again, they have their good days and their bad days, and if they can get on a bit of a run, then they're still up there in the mix at the moment. So it's interesting. I mean, Newcastle could. They're having a great run at the moment, but again, they were fortunate to get a draw against us earlier on in the season. We should have beaten them. We really should have beaten them. It was one of those games where they came away from that just when they were starting to find a bit of form, Newcastle. So I wouldn't say for a second that they're a shoe-in for top 4. They've given themselves every chance of doing it. And the scary thing for the rest of the league, as far as Newcastle goes, is this has come a bit earlier than we all thought, hasn't it? I mean, we were talking when the buyout happened. Yeah. Oh well, we're going to see them challenging for top 4 in a few seasons, and they've done it now, season 1, without really spending a huge amount of money. So you've got to give huge credit to Eddie Howe and what he's done there without spending crazy. And they're not coming out even in this January transfer window talking about spending big. They may find the right. So they seem to be organised. They're doing it. They're doing it the Man City way, which is getting a good team behind them and going, right, yes, we've got a plan here, and we're going to follow the plan, and that's what we're going to do. And we're not going to do anything crazy. Compare that to what's going on at Chelsea at the moment, where they're in for just about everybody and anyone, spending money left, right, and centre. The size of the squad they're going to have at the end of this is phenomenal, and no one's really performing. It's frightening.
Well, it's going to be an interesting next couple of weeks on the football front, I'm absolutely sure. We've been joined by one Rich Baker. Evening to you, Rich. I hope you've had a good weekend, sir. Lee, poker. Just going back to poker very, very briefly. I'm going to flip this on. I think this is about 90 seconds. Let me run this.
Welcome to Breakthrough Poker Coaching. I'm incredibly excited for you that you've signed up for the program. And I'm actually really excited to bring it to you and have put it together for you because it is a unique coaching program in poker. There's nothing else out there that takes you through in a step-by-step way how to get better at poker, how to progress, and does it in a fashion that allows you to learn while having maximum impact on your game. I totally understand the problem and the challenge that poker creates. After you've been playing for a while, it's really easy to get stuck and not progress quickly. And the real problem is that when we have time to play poker, we just want to play, right? I know that's what you want to do. And yet you have work, you have other life stuff. I have exactly the same situation. And the last thing you want to do is 3 hours of homework. I mean, I left that behind when I was 16. Actually, I didn't even do it when I was 16, if I'm honest. But that's not what we want to spend our time doing. We don't want to do study. So I've designed this program in a way that gives you maximum progression each month, but with minimum amount of theory and minimum amount of time.
There you go, Lee. Maximum progression with a minimum amount of time, minimum amount of theory. So we started.
Yeah, but Des, so what are you selling me there? I mean, let's just cut to the chase. How much is this going to cost me? I mean, I get the impression, look, what your sales pitch? I've heard you do these.
Lee, look, I have stayed up late many nights watching QVC, and I appreciate the way they do this stuff now. They don't mention the price till the very end. You got to talk for about 17 or 18 minutes. Then you mention the price. Then you mention the number of installments, and then you go through the last 5 minutes of free things. You get a free bag, you get a free cable, you get a free guarantee that's worth and all of that stuff. Actually, it's easier here though. It's free, right? The whole thing is free. So we started rolling this out last week. So we put the first couple of episodes up on our YouTube and our Twitch channels last week. We put the third episode out tonight. This thing goes for 36 months. There's literally hundreds of hours of poker coaching. And, you know, as we put them out, I've watched a lot of this stuff. Some really good stuff, just positioned in a very simple and, you know, easy to you consume format, really.
Well, I mean, we're very, very fortunate to have access to the whole of the poker breakthrough training. We did talk about it last year when we kind of acquired it, and what we've just been working out what the best way was to get it out for everybody to use. And I think I said back then, I mean, I was somebody that signed up to it and went through a large chunk of the program, paid my hard-earned cash to listen to what Nick had to say, and all the people that he interviews and gets these little nuggets of poker knowledge and strategy from. And there's something in there for everybody. Now, I guess when you're paying for it, it's like, well, okay, well, am I going to really get value out of it? Well, we're giving this away for free as part of your APAT membership. If you signed up with APAT on the website, or you've been with us from back in 2006. So as far as value for money goes, you don't need to worry about that. But I guarantee you there'll be something in there that will improve your poker game. And the way Nick puts it across is absolutely superb. And it's the sort of thing you can just have on in the background. So you can be doing other things. And I guess like maybe a lot of people listen to you and I on a Sunday night, Des, they might be playing poker and they've just got us on in the background, and we might say something that they pick up on, or most of the time we probably just sound like white noise and they're really not paying any attention to us at all. We get that. But that's the sort of thing you could do. You can watch the visual bits if you want, but a lot of it is aimed at the podcast style. I used to have it on in the car when I was doing the commute to clients. So I'd be out at clients maybe 2 or 3 days a week back in those days. And it might be a 45-minute hour journey, and I'd put it on the car and I'd go through a session of whoever Nick was talking to, or what he was running through, or who he was interviewing. And you just pick the little things up, and some of it is just kind of verifying what you already know. Yeah. And go, yeah, well, I do that. It's like, well, okay, that's fine. It's all right. Yeah. No, don't worry about that. You're doing what, the right way, or the right, but say sometimes you just get something, you go, oh, I'd never really thought of that like that before. And it can, and there are a couple of bits in there for me, which completely changed my mindset on how I would approach poker. So it's hopefully it will do the same for others out there.
Yeah. And it's true to say that within a relatively short period of you starting that whole coaching thing, you went on and had some pretty big results.
I did. I won. So I was playing a heads up double or nothing once, and I won that. Yeah. So I spun my $5 up to $10. And I never really looked back after that.
Just go and look at the trophy cabinet at DTD, folks. That's all you have to do.
I'll tell you what happened. I may have told this story before, so apologies out there to anybody that's heard this story before. But very, very, very briefly. So we did the event at Wembley, which I'm sure loads of people remember. And APAT put an event on at Wembley. On the actually on the pitch and in the stadium, and then there was somebody else doing a tournament there as well. But APAT put a tournament on at Wembley. That's the line, isn't it, Des? Yeah, that's what we did, wasn't it? Yeah, that's what we did. And I had a pretty good run in that, but I beat myself up about how I exited that tournament, and I the whole drive home from Wembley, I absolutely was gutted with myself because I was playing poker for fun and rocking up, and I read a few bits of books, but nothing really much in that. And it took me a few months to get over it. And then I said, I've got to do something about this. I'm going to pick up some training. I'm going to try some training. Got to do something. So it was around the December time. Nick was doing one of his kind of pitches about what he's doing. I went on the group call and go on, I'll give this a go. So I did, maybe 20, 30 weeks of it, something like that. So it was months, wasn't it, back then? So it would have been about eight months in, and then the Sky UKPC came up, and everything I'd kind of homed in on in that period of time then came to fruition at that event. So it can work.
Proof's in the pudding, folks, and it's there for free if you want to take advantage. So last week, Nick took us through how to 3-bet like a poker god, and tonight it was how to combat aggressive players. So that content is up on YouTube. It's on twitch.tv/poker, our channel on Twitch. Go and watch it, right? See if some of the goodness soaks in. So I don't know, Lee. I mean, we're what, 45 minutes into the show tonight. We're not focused on the poker tonight. I think next week could be an interesting one. I think we're hoping to get more details of the more complete 23 schedule. So we've announced a number of events.
What we should just say, I suppose, is that, so for anyone that did miss it, we did put a kind of a save the dates out before Christmas, because we confirmed the 4 dates for next year, which were the Dusk Till Dawn date. So we're going to be at Dusk Till Dawn 4 times in 2023. So the UK team event is happening on the 24th to the 26th of February. Teams are already confirmed. We might have the odd one that drops out this week, maybe. So there might be a couple of options there. What I would say is, if you fancy playing it and you're not in a team, make yourself known in the Facebook group, because there are always teams that are, someone's dropped out of their 8 and they're looking for a player or something like that. So if you're looking for one, I know of 1 or 2 teams at the moment that are possibly looking for one. So give a shout out, say hello. If you're new to APAT, introduce yourself, say you like to play this event, and somebody will open you with welcome you with open arms and give you an opportunity to play that if you want to. We're then back up in Nottingham in May for the UK Amateur Poker Championship. So looking forward to that one. Then the big one in August is the WCOAP 2023. That will be running from a Wednesday to the bank holiday Monday on August. We're going to have a big international team event there for that one this year. I've already seen, Tom is talking to just about every country on the planet to get there, and then we'll round the year at Dusk Till Dawn with Poker Squads, which was the last event of 2022. That was a cracking weekend. The kind of the mystery prize picking and all that kind of thing, and going on, and the teams playing that. So looking forward to that. So if you want to get involved in that will be the biggest Poker Squads we've ever done. I've no doubt in November this year that will be huge. In between all of that, well, we've currently got, I think it's 7 or 8 events pretty much locked in, which we're hoping.
Don't tell them, not yet.
Which we're hoping to announce this week.
Soon.
We've got another 2 or 3 others that are in the pipeline as well, which may be kind of late additions to the schedule. But yeah, the plan is that we're going to be in double figures for APAT events in 2023. That's for sure. So back to how it was, with you guys booking up events and traveling, going to some events overseas and plenty more in the UK. And on top of that, we'll have a cracking online schedule as well, which will be, again, more weekly leaderboard stuff, but also we're going to have a full championship schedule online for 2023 as well, with dates in, so you guys know when you can win your medals and go for those as well. And obviously we'll be reintroducing all of the rankings points as well, so you can start seeing where you are, for the last 16 years really,
it's going to be absolutely fantastic
where you fit. So that's what we're planning to do. So hopefully, next couple of weeks we'll be able to get all that info out to you guys.
Yeah, no, I really look forward to that, Lee. Listen, seeing as we're deep into the poker talk, can you tell us any more about your big win at Dustle Dawn?
Well, I just saw Richard Baker. Hasn't listened to us for 6 months, and we're already talking about it. So, Rich, let's actually, Des, do you want to play episode 1 off the Sky Sports? How long has everybody got? Are we?
Let's do it. We can do them back to back, Lee. We've got them all.
There's only 7 hours worth of content. It won't take. We'll be fine. Honestly, I'll talk you through it. I'll talk you through how I was thinking at each of those. But
you got to laugh.
It's lovely to see Rich back in the chat. And 6 months. If it's been 6 months since he's last been, it's been way too long, Rich. And we'll have to get you back on the show for a
way too long.
Up. And I've got a funny feeling 2023, Des, is going to be the year we're going to see lots of faces and names back playing APAT events and more, because it's going to be back to from where we were.
I think so.
Really good year.
And I put it up in the Facebook group 2 days ago because of Adam's deep run and win at the High Roller Dustle Dawn. Adam Neal, our interview with him, which I guess must have come from mid 2021, I want to say.
Yeah. I'm trying to think whether we did 1 or 2 with him in the end. We might
we did one big one, right? It was a proper 3-hour show.
Yeah,
we discussed a hell of a lot with him. I thought it was one of our best shows. He was a great guest, and I just put it on. You just listen to a bit of that, and the amount of interaction from the chat box and the number of people who were in there and stuff like that. Those were heady days for the show. And it's all this talk of your win at DTD that has really just cut into our audience, Lee. It's just cut it, but can we?
I never really
does not mention that very often. He feels quite embarrassed when it's mentioned.
I hate mentioning it, to be perfectly honest. It's just to keep getting brought up when we're doing stuff. If we didn't have any of that, if you hadn't played that training video thing, I would never have got mentioned.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would agree. I would agree with that. I will back you, Lee. So listen, I think we are reaching a natural conclusion. So unless, guys, there's anything out there, and look, I've got to say,
I've got one thing. I've got one thing for you.
Yeah.
One thing for you guys. We binge watched this weekend The Rig.
Well, I've seen a bit of that. It was very, very good. Very good.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Love a bit of aggressive Scottish bloke on a rig going, it's the fucking smoke, man. It's the fog. What's happening? It was absolutely brilliant.
And there was a random Welshman on there as well, which is really weird. But anyway.
Yeah, and he was cross. He was just generally angry.
Yeah. And obviously tomorrow is the start of another big HBO one, which is I'm going to get the name of this wrong. The Last of Us.
Right.
Based on a computer game.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. So, because this looks good. Right, so the first episode is tonight at 2 a.m.
I know nothing about this at all. However, we were talking about it when we were up in Nottingham for the poker squads. Actually, Paul Haycock and Jen Mason were chatting about it because they're big into their games, computer games and stuff like that. And they were talking about it. And I said, well, if you haven't played the computer game, how does it fit for anybody else? They said, you'll be able to watch this as a standalone. TV series, no bother whatsoever without knowing anything about it. But for the geeky gaming crowd, this is a big deal about whether they do this justice or whether they absolutely.
Oh, it's interesting.
So it would be fascinating to see.
I saw the trailer because there's a 2-minute trailer that's sitting on the Sky dashboard or the Sky highlights, whatever. I saw it a couple of days ago, and I sat my 10-year-old down because he loves zombie movies and stuff like that. Right, never watches them, but he loves the thought of them. So I sat him down to watch the 2-minute thing, and I said, "Here's something that I think, having looked at the trailer, that I think we could probably watch together, right?" so I played it in the trailer, and you can sort of see a bit of zombie action in the background, but there's very little else. But it's very, apocalyptic type movie, and it's beautifully produced and all of that good stuff. But right at the end, just after they roll the credits on the thing, the zombies start to come out of a hole in the ground, and there's one big junky looking thing, and my son looks at it and he goes, "That ain't no zombie. What's that?" So I know he's hooked. I know he's hooked already.
Wow.
But it looks like it could be really fun. I don't think it's going to be hyper violent or anything like that. Like, it should be just a cracking yarn. We'll see.
Well, apparently the game itself is an incredible thing to play. It's a proper immersive.
Never heard of it.
Never. I hadn't either. I hadn't either. So,
oh, right. So
apparently,
listen,
so looking forward to that. So we'll
I've
see
got
what
I've got one other tip for you, Lee. If you haven't seen this, I don't know what your Japanese watching is like these days, but Alice in Borderland. Have you seen that?
watched it.
Oh,
Amazing.
it's good, that. Really
I
good.
mean, it's like Squid Games on something else,
on some sort of card-based steroids.
Just finished watching it. When it ended, I thought it was going to be, we're going to go on to something else, but it doesn't. It actually does come to a conclusion.
No, it's not over, Lee. It's not over the very
not?
last scene. Well, you saw when the cards blew off of the table, right? There was one left.
But I'm not
the
sure
Joker, Lee.
I'm not sure whether they will.
They'll definitely come back, no question.
You reckon?
That was
But
really good.
I literally binged both seasons of that. So it was absolutely super.
How sad are we? How sad are we?
Well,
So I've got two last comments for you before we go. Rich says, sadly, I had it on video. We're talking about the you had a win, right, Dusseldorf? Yeah.
See, look, I've not brought this up again. This is Rich Baker. He just can't help himself.
Yeah, I had it on video, and I had to talk Lee through the entire rerun. Sounds good.
You know what actually happened is Rich posted something on Facebook when it was on Sky Sports, because he freeze framed it or something and took a photo of him watching me doing well, and it keeps coming back up as a memory on Facebook.
Fantastic.
It keeps cropping back up. So I absolutely loved it.
Look, finally, I can't think of a better comment to both end this show and enter 2023 with than Mr. 40 Coats, who says, "Do you think 2023 will be the year of the interview of Andy Black?" We've got to do that, Lee. We've got to get Andy back on the show.
The closest I've got to an interview of Andy Black is I was putting together a promo video for Luxon and the Irish Open this year, and there's a little bit of Andy Black in there. Going across the screen.
I think I might have seen that.
Yeah, that's the closest we've got to it, I reckon.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
well,
you never know. We might do that. I think APAT very much, we're at the forefront of what's going on in poker in the UK. There's lots of other good things happening as well, but what APAT are doing, we're out there, we're front and center for 2023. I'm really looking forward to it, and who knows what that might bring for us. Maybe an Andy Black interview. Maybe.
Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to give Andy a ring, right? Say, "Andy, how are you doing? Are we set for that thing we discussed?" And he'll go, "Who is this?" And what I'll do then is I'll take the phone out, I'll show him my ear, I'll push the camera right close to my ear, and I'll say, "Do you remember this, Andy? It's me, Des." And he'll go, no, sorry, I'm busy. I'm washing my hair.
He'll say, "Yeah, I can do a show on a Tuesday. Do you still do a show on a Tuesday?" "Yeah, I'll do a Tuesday for you." Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. All right, folks, I think we have reached the end of tonight's entertainment. I have to say, entertaining for me. 60 minutes in, Lee. Who could believe it? And just one tech issue. Not bad. Not bad. But so we're going to be back.
It's great to see you guys back. It's great to see you guys back in the chat and back for the year. And keep eyes peeled, because Tom is going to get some info out this week regarding other events for 2023, and then people can start booking things up and we're looking forward to catching up with you all at events this year. It's going to be a great year. And
assuming we do get that schedule information out this week, then that's going to be a loaded show next Sunday night, right? So if you want to come in and talk about
lots of chat,
what we're doing, what we're not doing,
we'll get a guest or two on.
We'll do that,
and we can have the discussion. And there's been some good discussion in the chat in the Facebook group this week around structures and where things are, and it's good. We like this kind of discussion because it's important to understand, for us to know what the players are thinking, but also for us to be able to explain back to the players why things are maybe the way they are, or how things have moved on, or where you need to look at differences on structures and everything, because poker is constantly moving. Venues are moving, and APAT needs to keep up with the times, but at the same time, the thing that we always do, we always start from a point of what's the best we can do for the players. How can we push the boundaries and maximize what we can do for the players? We'll never change doing that, but ultimately, poker is moving forward, and we're going to be part of it.
Agree. Lee, look, let's bring back the 2550 level, 100,000 starting chips. Boom, let's do it. And just need to be finished by 11 p.m. though, Lee. We need to be finished by 11 p.m. so that we can have a buffet. Does
that mean we'll have to? I was just saying, well, we have to drop the buffet if we're going to do that.
Oh no. What we want is a beer buffet in 2023. I'm liking the sound of that. And let's do it.
We'll get JP onto that one. We can get it sorted. Yeah.
Peter Wigglesworth has come and said, "Wow, structures." Maybe we ought to get Peter Wigglesworth on to talk about structures, right? The 150-300. Did we do that, Lee? Did we do the 150-300?
I'm not playing if it's not a 150-300. I'm not playing if it's not.
How about the 175-350? Did we do that?
Yeah.
No, maybe not. 15-minute clock. WTF? He can't be talking about us, Lee. We don't do a 15-minute clock.
But there have been some 15-minute clocks. Yeah, there have been some 15-minute clocks, I understand. But people have to understand that there's so much more to a structure than the actual level.
Yeah.
And that's where the discussion is a good discussion to have. And I get it. And players want value for money. Players want to feel like they're getting some entertainment in what they're doing, and I completely get that. And so we've got to find the right balance. Ultimately, that's what we're here to do. And we will always do what we can.
Okay, folks. Well, listen, with that, enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. Have a great week ahead. We'll be back on Sunday night, hopefully with a jam-packed show. Should be lots to discuss. And until then, this is Toodaloo. I think I can say Toodaloo, Lee.
You can get away with that.
The UK Six Max champion of 2013.
Really?
I want to say 2013.
Really?
He only won it the once. I mean, it was a good one to win, but just the once.
No, I don't know whether they've done one since. I may still be the current reigning champion.
No, the reigning.
Yeah, they might not have done a Six Max since. I'm not sure whether they have.
It's a good one. It was a good one to win. So with that, guys, have a great week. See you next weekend. Ciao, ciao.